to tell you this. I don't have to, I want to. I want to tell you that I spent so much of my time, my lifetime, imagining this. That this would ever happen to me, that one day I would find myself standing here in front of you all behind this wooden lectern, or is it veneered? Behind some kind of lectern about to deliver a lecture. Although I do not think I would call it that. A lecture sounds to something or another highfalutin perhaps. I might just call it a talk. No, as soon as I say it, I know I don't like the way it sounds, as though I'm trying to lower or to depreciate an expectation that you might have had when you came into the room this evening. To enter a room, into any room, I think one is invariably filled with a sense of expectation, as we tend to, I think ahead of ourselves, trying to imagine whatever it is going to be like. We go into a baker's shop to buy bread, into a butcher's to eat meat, if we eat meat, into a greengrocer's to buy fruit and veg. I think most of us eat fruit and veg. We go into a sitting room to sit down. We go into a kitchen to prepare food. Into a bathroom to wash our hands or whatever else it is. We go into a bedroom to go to sleep, or to have sexual intercourse, or to masturbate. I think that most of us who came here this evening, into the room this evening, are in search of knowledge. I came here because I was invited to. I was invited to speak to you all about some thoughts I've been having recently. I say recently, but I do not know how long it's been since I first started to have these thoughts. They're not all the same, I mean as one another, as they tend to, I think, to move around one another a little bit every time I think about them. But they are, I would say, similar thoughts to one another, which are usually about or around the same sort of thing. It is as though I'm trying to create an arrangement of things I want to think about when I'm on my own or when I'm in company. It doesn't seem to matter which, as these thoughts might occur to me at any time of day or night. And they are, I suppose, whatever it is they are, which is a fairly innocuous thing to say, I know that now. These thoughts are vivid, and I think that they are vivid enough for me to be able to imagine I can hear, touch, taste or smell a particular person, place or thing. And it might have been, I don't know, a moment ago, an hour, a week, 10, 20, 30, 40, or even 50 years ago. I can still bring the same thought back into my mind to be here with me now if I want to. And at the drop of a hat, it's as though I'm there. I do not know why I think about whatever it is I think about. It's like a mystery to me why I might think about one thing rather than another. Why, for instance, am I thinking about this? What a difference is, or what it might be, between a talk and a lecture. And does it matter? That's a good point. Does it matter? Yes, I think it does. I think it matters because the words themselves would seem to carry with themselves a history of different ways in which people have, and for whatever reason, grappled with the way they use words in an effort, I imagine, to try to make sense of such a body or to make such a thing. Interesting words, fashionable words, middle class words, upper class words, awkward words, working class words, words that some might deem to be offensive, or to be politically incorrect, or totally unacceptable. That is totally unacceptable. Words that enable us to express ourselves in ways that make sense to us, and perhaps to others, but not necessarily to everyone. Whilst we are, what? What are we doing? Well, we're still trying to think about whatever it is. I think, therefore I am, is a well-known phrase translated into English from the original French, Je pense donc je suis, initially conceived through the mind of René Descartes, a French philosopher born in 1596. He is often credited as being the father of modern thought. I can imagine René was sitting there on his own one evening, in the room where he always wrote, thinking, who am I? Or, as he was most likely thinking this thought through his native French tongue. Puis suis-je? And what am I doing? Puis suis-je en train de faire? What am I trying to do? Ou est-ce que qui j'essaie de faire? With this thought, avec ces pensées. To go as one might, or as I imagined René was, from one thought to another, until it suddenly occurred to him while he was dipping his swan's crow into a pot of ink, before turning his attention to the writing itself. Je pense, scribble, scribble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Donc je suis. I think, scribble, scribble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Therefore I am. But what is it, René? What are you thinking? I think that René is having a moment to himself, to imagine that one day these words, the words that he's writing at that moment, scribble, scribble, scratch, scratch, will have a life of their own. In much the same way, I imagine Emily Bronte imagined that one day the words that she was writing, whenever it was she wrote, Nellie, I am Heathcliff, would have a life of their own. We use words, all of us, all the time, to extend our thoughts beyond the parameters of what we might assume our own experience to be or to have been, because we want to tell others what it was like to have been there, wherever it was we were, or might have imagined ourselves to be, and to have done whatever it was we did, or we might have done, while they, being whoever it is they are, look at us if they're looking at us, or they listen if they're listening to us, or they read our words if those words have been written down, as they for themselves and for whatever reason it is, will try to gather a sense of whatever it is we're trying to tell them, something about whatever it is, or about whatever it was we might have done. It is difficult though, isn't it, to live in a world where we have to access so much information about each other's lives, the details of which, but not necessarily a sense of who they are within themselves, or within a specific context. Information that enables us to imagine we know this or we know that about such a body or about such a thing. Information to embellish an opinion that we already have so we can make a judgment and often straight away. Otherwise it's too late to press whichever emoji it is we want to press or to leave a comment. Wow, fab, you look great. And to be judged, of course, as we are, in return for liking something. And it doesn't matter if it was 14 years ago, 15 years ago, or whenever it was that we might have liked whatever it was. Welcome to New Labour. It's still there, isn't it? Like a ticking time bomb. Am I this then? Is this it? Is this the full extent of my being, whatever it is I am? Or is there, I wonder, anything more than this? Or anything else other than this? I do not know is the answer I think I would give to that question, but I do know I think that one day the inevitable is going to happen. It will happen to me, and to you, and to everyone else, and at that moment I can imagine myself thinking, but only to myself because I wouldn't want to say this out loud, but I can imagine myself thinking to myself, did I get it right? As in, did I make the right decision to go the way I went through my life? Or to say whatever it was I said, or that I might have said. Whenever it was, I suppose I might have said whatever it was I was supposed to have said. Well, I had to make a decision, didn't I? Otherwise, what was I going to do nothing? Or to dither and delay and say nothing, or to say something ineffectual like, you see, I can see both points of view. Really? You can you? Yes, I can. Well, isn't that wonderful, wonderful for you that you can see both points of view by sitting on the fence as usual? We are, it would seem to me, at a turning point, or perhaps it is a tipping point. All those of us who came into the room this evening, we are, or so it seems to me, we are in search of knowledge, of some kind of knowledge, to know what is the truth, or to know what is not the truth. You may already have one, a truth already in mind, I don't know. Or you might have as many truths in your mind as you might have in your mind. And if that is what it takes to make you happy, then I am happy for you. I'm happy enough, but I'm not delighted. You see, the truth is I do not have one. I do not have a truth. Vladimir Putin has a truth. Donald Trump has a truth. Pope Francis, Ayatollah Khamenei, Benjamin Netanyahu, all have truths of their own, that have guided them to positions of power that's enabled them to assert an authority over the way others are supposed to think, and others are supposed to live their lives in ways that are predetermined to do this or to do that, or to die, of course, to have to make what is called the ultimate sacrifice, to die for the sake of a jingoistic phrase, or for a truth that this is my land, not yours, my people, not yours, my king, not yours, my God, I think to myself. Is there no end to this rigmarole, a desire that so many of us would seem to have, to see ourselves as being something that can be reproduced over and over and over again, like a face on a stamp, or on a coin, or on a banknote, or on whatever else it is? She looks like you, doesn't she? The spitting image of her father. I'm trying to come to terms with something about myself, and it is, I think, as much a pleasure as a displeasure, which is not so much a thought as I think it is a feeling that I'm having at the moment while I'm standing here in front of you all this evening, behind this wooden, or whatever else it is, kind of lectern, about to deliver a lecture. And I want the impact of whatever it is I think I'm about to say to last, and perhaps forever, or for as long as it might take us all to come together. All together now. Thank you.